whenever you're ready.
Okay, cool. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Matt Bogosian, AMCC Executive Director. This is David Van Siclen, our Operations Director. It's June 23rd. This is our weekly national 30-minute call, same time, every Monday, 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central, 9:30 Mountain, 8:30 Pacific. And I hope whoever is experiencing the extreme heat this week takes good care. This is a roundtable call. And that means we're going to go around the room and talk to folks, get introductions or whatever, but back to this extreme heat thing, it's an event that underscores what we're all doing here every week together, focusing on manufacturing products that solve problems and improve the human condition, as I like to say. This extreme heat is a signal that we have to make smarter, clean energy products and products that use cleaner energy. We use this framework that we've all co-created this framework, David. You could pull it up and you could see it, on the left side. We all need to work on improve the big categories of products that we need now and for the long term. Highlighting these with you all every week and otherwise is a tactic to encourage regional leaders to look at how your region's adding value to one or more of these buckets. So like take another bucket, for example, defense. We just attacked Iran, right? We need defense related products for our own national defense, for our allies in Ukraine, Asia, elsewhere. Or look at healthcare. Like what do we need to make for the next pandemic and any number of other healthcare demands. So, you guys get the point. Each one of these priority manufacturing industries are big buckets. It's challenging to understand them, figure out how best to strengthen the ecosystem of support around each of them, including the sub-slide on that first one is, how new tech gets into our manufacturing sector. And then fortunately, this is the good news, in the middle pillar there of the framework, we have the big six. It's a framework that helps each of us in regions prioritize our efforts, building the teamwork amongst public, private, nonprofit stakeholders with people, money to build and maintain that teamwork, which is a work in progress, right? Fits and starts over the years and the decades. So, we're enlisting folks in positions of all kinds. You can see the sub-slide there underneath that one. It's not just one regional entity that's in charge of growing in the same direction. It takes all kinds of stakeholders. And, and it's going to take in regions working together toward the North Star of sustainable development, right? Which gets at the what we talk about in what we are shooting for, multi area approaches and doing what the sub slide on this one says that we do every week, and we do at the beginning of the week on this call, at the end of the week with the AMCC update, when we do on the AMCC road shows and the manufacturing momentum summits, and all of that is relationship building so that we can get the good hard work done, building common narrative, strategizing, activating, and building better structures to produce smarter products in those priority industries. That's what we're missing in this country, is those better structures, right, to activate the good work necessary to produce those products. So we keep coming back to this, and I'm hoping that you guys use it and give us feedback on it so we can continue to prove it over time. And it can seem daunting. We're all tempted to withdraw into our silo, but we don't. We come together and build momentum because we know what needs to get done. But there's also another element I was reminded of on Thursday when I recorded another podcast episode. By the way, advertisement. We have a Manufacturing American Century podcast on Spotify and other podcast platforms, and BFF Melissa McGregor from JFF talking about apprenticeships. I see Melissa is on here. That was a great podcast. That's up now, as are many of, including you and other key stakeholders from all kinds of perches, in organizations, important to the ecosystem of support. But on Thursday, I interviewed Sue Helper, who many of you know is a well-regarded professor at Case Western University in Cleveland. She's been a long-time AMCC BFF, in and out of the federal government, trying to co-create, this bipartisan, evidence-based, bottom-up industrial policy that we're all talking about. I asked her, why she'd been a part of this merry band for so long, now almost 15 years. And it's cool what she said. In addition to doing the good hard work that needs to get done and all the stuff that we're doing on the framework and all of that, she likes being a part of the group. She said, because it's also fun. And I like that. I think she's right. What we're doing is deadly serious, but it also brings joy in building relationships and sharing stories and best practices. And we see that on the road and on on all the building these better strategies, actions, and structures. And so anyway, today's a roundtable call. So I thought, oh, let's have some fun. Let's be serious. Let's take a nod from Sue Helper on that. So let's go around the room. I want you to do three things, if you would. I'll drop it in the chat. I wrote it down in advance. I was preparing for this thing. And let me drop it in here. So, and many of you are using the chat. So introduce yourself. Tell us something quick that brings you joy, and tell us what you want to hear about on a future Monday call. Now, nobody's prepared for that. Not even David's prepared for this. So let's get after it. For me, I'm Matt Bogosian. I have my wife and I have 3 kids, and we have this group chat. And so when I get a text on the group chat, that brings me a lot of joy to hear about what's going on in the family BOGO there. And what I want to hear about on a future Monday call is more ideas about what you want to hear about on future Monday calls. So let's go there. David, let me turn to you.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Hi, everyone. I'm David Van Sticklen. Something that brings me joy is the girlfriend and I do a daily walk every afternoon after work. And that's a great activity that brings us together.
And what do you want to
For
see on Monday calls? Yeah.
more things on Monday calls, well, definitely, we definitely have some open presentation space for the next few weeks. If anyone would like to come and present, I'd love some folks who have been on these calls for the past couple of years, but haven't yet taken a Monday to present to raise their hand and come on for 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah.
All right, let's go for it. Glenn Tobiasen, welcome.
Hi there, Glenn Tobias. I'm from Innovatecon and Carbatura Manufacturing brings me joy in itself, knowing that we can do something here for the States, bringing it in, onshoring a lot more, which is good for USA and good for our economy and for the world's economy too. So not just being an island nation, but bring it in for us. What do I like every day? Well, for Monday calls, get good information about manufacturing from all the people that listen in and come in on these calls. There's great collaboration, always making contacts with different people. Almost every time I've come on, I've found different people to talk to, get in touch with, make contact with. So that's a lot of fun.
Thank
And
you,
also
Glenn.
enjoy a morning walk.
And a morning walk. Great. Barbara Pinnell Janes.
Hi, guys. It's great to be here, and thanks for all the positive energy that we need to get this week started. Um, so, something that brings me joy is that evening dog walk with my husband, where we regroup after what was your day like, and we break it all out. And, um, when the kids are home, that's when we got to talk about them and they couldn't hear it. And now it's just for us. So, I really love that time with him and with our pup. And some of the things that I'd like to see, I find this call so valuable. I've made some really great connections here. Like with Daniel, we're collaborating on a project, and I'd like for us to talk about more ways, like how do you find that connectivity and collaborate here and really build out that infrastructure for a community? And I'm also concerned about CMMC, that certification, that more people aren't aware of it and don't realize the importance of it and what could happen to us, especially now when we need our defense manufacturers and machine and tooling people working on it.
That's great, Barbara. Thank you for that. I'm going to turn to our lab friends here, NREL and out here in Lawrence Livermore right here. And the reason why is because when I interviewed Sue, she just recently published an article that maybe David could find and drop into the chat about how important the labs are in terms of bottom-up economic development. So Jared, let me turn to you. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Jared Tiemanson with the National Renewable Energy Laboratory in Golden, Colorado. As far as what brings me joy, I spent the whole weekend mountain biking in the mountains up here. Mountain biking brings me a tremendous amount of joy. So does my dog Samson. So I'll just leave it at those two things for now. And then I think I agree with Barbara. I think for me, I work on partnerships. That's what I do day in, day out for the lab. And I think, yeah, building that connective tissue, making those connections and identifying how we can all work together strategically is certainly what I'm interested in hearing more of. So thanks, Matt.
Great. Thank you, Jack. Jack Katofsky. Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jack Katofsky at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in Livermore, California. I enjoy also mountain biking. I was just spent the weekend on a dirt bike up in the Sierras, so love to get out into the woods and up in higher elevation. And I oversee our micro nanotechnologies activity at Lawrence Livermore and oversee an R&D fab for doing a lot of semiconductor work for pretty much everything except integrated circuitry. So lots of high power GaN and laser devices and MEMS sensors for a variety of internal and external applications. Always looking to partner, and something that I'm passionate about is trying to get IP that we develop at Lawrence Livermore out into the private good. So trying to not only serve our government partners, but also see IP find its way into commercial use. So always eager to try to blur the line between academia and the government lab, as well as private interests and government lab, to try to help the lab to fab translation that CHIPS Act is trying to empower.
Great. Thank you, Jack. And out in Pennsylvania, Hannah and McGarry, I'm actually excited to be out there next month. The National Association of Counties national conference is there, and
where is that, Matt?
It's going to be in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm.
Ah, nice. Well, it is a very steamy, getting up to 100 degrees today, with the Philadelphia and surrounding counties humidity. So yay us. But I'm Hannah McGarry, and I work for the Delaware Valley Industrial Resource Center as the Workforce Engagement Director. What gives me joy? To be in my air-conditioned house today, I would say.
Totally.
Yeah, right. But also I feel like I've been in the workforce world for a really long time. And so what gives me joy as far as work is helping others achieve and see their potential. And what I'd like to do on these Monday calls, since I'm pretty new, is to do what we do and hear what's going on around the country and everybody else's world. So
that's awesome, Hannah. Thanks. I'm glad that you're here. Let me turn to Susan Ipri Brown from NIST, our BFFs at the National Institute of Standards and Technology. They just recently came out, and Susan, you were a co-author on that thing, on this NIST report about the Chinese Innovation Centers and our Manufacturing USA centers. So maybe we could drop that article in the chat. It's in the AMCC update. Remember, at the end of every week, we have the AMCC update that goes out thanks to you guys. It's populated with good stuff. But one of those good things is from our BFF from NIST, Susan Ipri Brown. Susan. Oh, she must be away here. So let's turn into Virginia. Alan Baker.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate the opportunity, and let's just begin by saying, I'm like a lot of people on this call. I'm a social animal. And, you know, Matt, you have helped to create a national community of interest and taken leadership in doing that week by week. And it's just wonderful to be able to participate in this growing community of interest in a subject that's so vital in national security. So just for me personally, thank you for this. So with respect to what we'd like to see in the future, my previous affiliation with Virginia Digital Maritime Center focused on digital analytic applications in the maritime. That led us into a relationship now with the Pentagon and digital transformation work, which focuses on advanced manufacturing. So we're out there kind of on the leading edge of this stuff. And it's a fascinating subject. It's one I hope to provide more information on, perhaps in a future presentation that you would give here, because among other things, the application of digital analytics and the work that we're doing for the Pentagon results in the ability to do much faster and much more accurate decision making in the advanced manufacturing process and the defense acquisition process. So thank you. Over.
Thank you. Yeah, let's turn to how about Larry Peterson in Texas?
I can get my camera on. So, hi everyone, I'm Larry Peterson with Texas Foundation for Innovative Communities in Austin, Texas. We are leading a DMCSP grant with the University of Texas for the semiconductor industry. Our specific interest as a foundation is accelerating innovation, building innovation ecosystems. Always like to hear how elements of the federal government, including the federal labs, but any research funding agency works together with industry and entrepreneurs to bridge that gap. That's a major area of interest. Austin's the only ecosystem tech hub, designed entirely from scratch. We were a dairy community when we got started. And what brings me joy is scuba diving with my wife. We still haven't found that holy grail of a whale shark just yet.
We'll keep working on it. That sounds like a great, joyful activity. Hey, David, can you tell folks what it takes to get on a Monday call for 10 or 15 minutes to talk about your perch in the ecosystem of support and what might be a best practice that other regional leaders could look at enabling?
Of course, Matt. Yeah, it's very straightforward. Just email the two of us, and we can find a couple of Mondays that might be suitable.
Cool. Thank you, sir. Scott Ellsworth, welcome.
Thanks, Matt. It's good to see everybody. I'm Scott Ellsworth with Sherpa Management Solutions. We contract with Semi Foundation, and we contract with JFF, and primarily right now we're doing workforce work. Something that brings me joy is the 3 grandkids that we just moved to Colorado for. Jared, it is beautiful out there, and we really enjoy being around them. Something that I would love for us to talk about as a group, this is kind of a passion thing for me that's not related to the work that I do every day, and that is, how do we help small manufacturers in the United States transition from old geezers like me to new ownership so that they actually survive? Because as a country, we're losing, hundreds of small manufacturers every year because they're just going out of business and there's nobody that wants to take them over. So what can this group do to help support those transitions and make that survivability better?
No, I appreciate you calling that out. We've done several Monday calls talking about that. Yeah, you get claps from Andrew Anson, the rough, 250,000 manufacturers, they call it the silver tsunami, Scott, and we have a lot of good, well-intended stakeholders in philanthropy and in nonprofits, bubbling up everywhere. Like, how do we team up to really do that? Because it's hard to get these old folks to transition soon enough to employee ownership or whatever next step to get the the young up and comers to adopting new technologies and improving the manufacturing workforce. So yes, and we'll keep coming back at that issue. So thanks for highlighting it. Barbara Lemieux.
Hey everyone, Barb Lemieux with President and CEO of the New North, 18 County Economic Development Corporation in Northeast Wisconsin. So I work really closely with Buckley, Brinkman, heavy manufacturing in our region. What brings me joy, my husband and I just got back Saturday night from Croatia. We were there for 10 days and just meeting new friends and expanding our international network. It was beautiful. Highly recommend if anyone can get to Croatia. Beautiful country. What I'd like to learn more about is if there's any interest in resurrecting, I know this comes from the federal government, the Defense Manufacturing Community Support Program, the designation. We had applied a couple years ago. We did not get it, but we were asked to reapply, but then that program kind of was a halt put on it. So if there's any information that could come forward at a future session, we'd love to learn more about that.
Yeah, so Barb, if you wouldn't mind just forwarding your application, if you're cool with that, to David and I would like to look at that. So we have, in the AMCC update, we have, a lot of material, but you can bucket the items there as we have events, we have tools, we have proposals, and we have articles. Those are like, some of the 4 things. Anyway, we're heading toward a Manufacturing Momentum Summit in Detroit, which is going to be August 5th through 7th. We're doing, even if you're not coming to Detroit, we're doing these pregame webinars to talk about particular issues. And one of those issues has to do with the Defense Manufacturing Community Support Program efforts. We have Seth Eisenberg from OLDC on this call today, and writ large. There's a big demand signal from regions, not only that have been designated, but to your point, Barb, that have applied, and other regions that need that kind of capacity to bring their stakeholders together around this bottom-up ecosystem approach. So thank you for highlighting that. But I wanted just to get you and others into the loop on that, the Manufacturing Momentum Summit activities leading up to the August 5th and 7th meetings in Detroit. We can give you more information. You can find more information in the AMCC update about that. But it's part of that, connective tissue that, it just doesn't happen automatically. And that's why we need to strengthen regions all across the country in this evidence-based industrial policy way. So thanks for highlighting that, and welcome.
Thank you.
And, private sector players, we were at a roadshow in California, in the Inland Empire. I see Danny Weirman on. You want to quickly introduce yourself and give us your take? Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. Daniel Weirman, founder of the CNC Career Network. We build regional career networks for advanced manufacturing, connecting organizations, educators, companies to form the career pathway, fulfilling grants and stuff like that. What brings me joy is my wife. Been married coming up on 9 years, close to 10 years. Wow, it's great. I still feel so young, as I am. I'm only 39, but man, being married for 10 years sounds crazy to me. Anyways. And then what I'd like to hear more about on the calls and everything else is everyone's problems, and maybe just a focus, some sort of quick way that we could all just give a suggestion or resources and direct towards that one specific problem that someone has, even if it's just one problem a week that we could help our national partners focus on. Because man, what brain trust, 54 people on this call that has probably well over 100 years, hundreds of years combined knowledge, in this. So I'd love to see that focus.
Great. Thank you, Danny. James Lee, back in Texas. Yeah.
Thank you, Matt. And pretty much I know lots of people here in this room. And so, what brings me a lot of joy is almost like I still think myself as a big boy. So I always feel, very happy when you can build something immediately, right? Like we are looking at the printed PCB based motor. So those are something always make me excited. When we do something, we have some idea, can we bring that to the reality? So I'm still much into that and build things myself in my garage, in my lab. But anyway, great, glad to see you guys. And Matt, I do need to talk to you after this meeting regarding another events we are hosting. I hope we have you guys on board.
Thank you, James. And please send us a note right after this meeting. Unfortunately, we have another meeting set up this time, but I want to talk to you also. So that'll be great. I wish we could go on and on this. Thank you. I see Jessica, you dropped, some ideas in the future call, and other people. Thank you for modeling how to use the chat. That's fabulous. Check out the AMCC update every week and give us material. Remember, I was saying there's like 4 things, events, like, we've got this, I was talking about the NACO conference. That's the National Association of Counties. We're really partnering with them and IEDC, the International Economic Development Council, right, to get this work embedded with the stakeholders around economic development. As we know, across the country, that's not done very well. And so we have a whole stream of work around that. I talked about the Manufacturing Momentum Summit and the pregame calls coming up August 5th through 7th. And then, we're co-creating this maritime ecosystem exchange. We now have meetings on the 3rd Friday of every month with regions around the country that have an important equity around the maritime manufacturing industry. So we're reporting out on that as we go. If you want to learn more about that, you can send us a note. We'll keep talking about it on Monday calls or whatever. On tools, right? We have the MCEM tool and playbook. We have a meeting every other Monday. We have a meeting today with that group of federal agency, Deloitte, academics trying to co-create an AI infused tool. We already have the 1.0 version of the playbook. So check it out, give us feedback, use it. I mean, this maritime ecosystem exchange new structure that we're co-creating with NAM and others, we're going to try to apply the use of the tool and playbook in that context. But that's a tool. Proposals, our AMCC senior advisor, Matt Fieldman, dropped a NatCast opportunity proposal on workforce awards. That's in the AMCC update, but there's, of course, a lot of funding proposals and whatnot in the AMCC update every week, and then articles. And I was highlighting NIST's new article about the China's manufacturing innovation centers, right? So we have folks, dictators and thieves coming after us. We've got to get our stuff together. So anyway, we're at time. I want to sincerely thank you all for spending this half hour with us and working with each other, and reach out to others, ourselves and others. Feed us information like I was talking about. Invite us if we can co-create an AMCC roadshow visit in your region. That would be great too. And hopefully we see you along the road here sometime soon. We'll definitely see you next week. And David, is there anything else?
I think we're good for today, Matt. Yeah, thank you, everyone. And thanks for sharing everything today.
Yeah, that's great. Have a good week. Stay cool.